Good morning, friends. This is your old girl, Melanie Rose, here to share your daily aspects. Today is Saturday, November 20, 2021. During these last few days of the sun's transit through Scorpio, I hope we will all give some thought on the metamorphoses we have undertaken. As I said yesterday, I was reading from the book Ancient Ways, written by Pauline Campanelli, and it reminded me that Samhain and the sun in Scorpio are only the beginning of this, the half of the year dominated by the night. From now until winter solstice, the days continue to grow shorter and our opportunities to go within, to work with our shadows and to connect with spirit continue to expand. Don't forget the commitment and focus with which we began these changes. This work isn't supposed to be easy. The outcome, however, will be well worth the dedication we've shown. Yesterday's full moon in Taurus has given way to today's waning gibbous in Gemini. We've transitioned in a few ways. For when the moon is waxing from new to full, we focus on those things we wish to increase. And when the moon is waning from full to new, we focus on those things we desire to decrease. Now is the time to finish up our celebration and begin to think on what we'll do differently this time. Gemini influences us to talk, plan, and create from the heart and in the home. Let's take a look at these planets and aspects before we get into the interpretations. I have prepared a legend of the symbols we'll be looking at today so that we can start with an idea of some of the energies that are at play. As always, we have the sun. The sun represents our outer life. This is the person that people meet when they meet us for the first time, who we are when we step out the door and we go to work or we go to socialize or we're out in the civic sphere. That's our outer life, represented by the sun. The moon represents our inner life. This is our relationship with ourselves, our emotions and intuitions, what we know, what we think, and also it relates to our domestic zone, so where we live, who we live with, and who we are when we're at home. And the waning gibbous energy of this moon asks us to look back on the last couple of weeks and revise. Just notice what worked well, what could work better, and this way we start to get an idea of those things that we can release because they no longer serve us. Furthermore, we have Mercury in attendance. Mercury represents the intellect, that is especially our day-to-day thoughts, communications, and the plans that we make. Jupiter is here, and Jupiter represents growth or positive expansion. Apogee is more of an aspect than a planet, but I put it in there, and then we're going to talk about it in a minute anyway, but it represents distance. The planet Mars is here. Mars represents initiative, our personal initiative, our power and fire, the desire to get up and go. Uranus is here. Uranus always comes around and invites us to do things differently and therefore represents those changes we make to sort of streamline our lives as we go. And Venus is here. Venus represents love and money, or in other words, how do we relate to those people and things that we value the most? As for the aspects that we're looking at today, we have a square on the board. Square represents the potential for a challenge. We have an opposition, and that represents the potential for conflict, but also the opportunity to find the balance in a situation. Trine is here. Trine represents harmony. These two planets together are in a harmonious influence with one another, so good things will come out of that. Apogee is distance, and the way we describe apogee is like this. Say this is the Earth, and this is the moon's elliptical orbit around the Earth. You see how the Earth is kind of to one end in that orbit. So it takes the moon a month to make this whole circle, and when the moon reaches this, the farthest point from the Earth, that is the apogee. And then this arrow here represents ingress, or is called an ingress. It represents transition, and that's coming up when the sun makes transition from Scorpio into Sagittarius, which we'll discuss in a couple of minutes. Okay, so I have divided our aspects into two columns, one for each of our luminaries. The moon sheds light on our nights, and it moves very quickly, creating many brief aspects that represent ambient energies that may produce moods and other internal experiences for us throughout the course of the day. The sun sheds light on our days, and I address the rest of the planets on this side because these aspects take longer and they have more of an impact on our actions and interactions out in the world. And today we start with the sun. In our ongoing column, today is day 4 of 4 for Mars in opposition to Uranus. So when Mars and Uranus make aspect together, we feel inspired to act on a new or different idea. Opposition tends to bring about conflict, and with Mars involved, this may look like us having a frustrated or angry response to someone or something that appears to slow us down or get in our way. Sometimes people will try to convince us that our fabulous new and different idea isn't realistic. Sometimes we'll come to that conclusion on our own, or otherwise we'll have to carry out our intentions with the knowledge that we may encounter some resistance from the people around us. This is day 4 of 4 of this aspect, so its effect is on the way out. But just so we understand, frustration or change with resistance is what this represents. Today is day 3 of 4 for Venus trine Uranus. It would make sense that Mars and Venus, these sort of opposite ends of the spectrum, are also, sort of doing opposite things with the same kind of planet. So our affectionate hearts here, let's say 3 of 4, are stimulated in a very positive way by things that are new and different. We may seek to do something a little bit different at home with our partners. Some of us might begin a brief but exciting affair with someone who would normally stand a little outside our template for attraction. Aside from those things, this is generally a positive time for socializing and trying new things. A personal or financial investment in a new venture is likely to work out well. This aspect lasts about 4 days and comes around 2 or 3 times a year. So, positive time for socializing and trying new things. So I'm seeing in this sort of a push and pull. We may want to try new things and get resistance, or we may want to try new things and, get not so much resistance. And I have a feeling that has to do with the people that we're engaging with, because Venus represents those people and things that we most value, or the people that we hold most dear to us. So those people that we choose to keep close to us in our sphere are probably going to be more likely to go along with our wacky, new, and fun idea than people who are not accustomed to the way we do things differently when we do things differently. As for today, that's an S. Central Standard Time at 5:43 p.m. Mercury goes square with Jupiter. When Mercury is in aspect with Jupiter, we can become excited in a positive way because our hopes and dreams feel very possible, even as they keep expanding. The challenge here comes with attention to detail when your brain is in big picture mode. Remain attentive and focused on the tasks at hand. This is a 2-day aspect. Let's see. Positive ideas for growth. Remain focused. And then on the moon side of the page, this evening at 6:14 p.m., the moon reaches its apogee. The moon's orbit around the Earth is not a perfect circle. It is an elliptic, and the Earth, if you can envision it, is set to one side in this orbit at all times. It takes the moon about 30 days to travel the entire ellipse, as I said, and therefore once every 30 days, the moon is at the farthest point on that ellipse that it can get from the Earth. Astrologically, this says that the moon, or the emotional and intuitive life, has less influence on us than any other time of the month. In another 15 days, the moon will reach its perigee, its closest point on the ellipse to Earth. And at that point, the inner life is believed to have more influence on us. So the impact of the lunar aspect ebbs and flows in this way, much like with the full moon and the new moon, but on a slightly longer schedule. So today's lunar energy signature is one of emotional distance and possibly not feeling our feelings so strongly. We may feel as though our energetic and intuitive connections are lacking something, but we're simply at the cold end of a cycle. Things begin to feel more connected from here. Tomorrow evening, the sun will make ingress into Sagittarius, and we will begin to explore the sense of adventure and clarity that sign's influence has to offer. We'll talk about these things and more in upcoming episodes. That is it for today, friends. This has been your Daily Aspects, an astrological weather forecast for Saturday, November 20, 2021. If you haven't already, please like my video and subscribe to the Old Girl channel. I will leave this up here for about 30 seconds so that you can have some time to look it over. I thank you all so much for being here with me today. My name is Melanie Rose, and I will see you all back here tomorrow for more Daily Aspects.